Regarding has will start in a moment. Yeah, there you go. Barman. Oops. Barman. And there is another tool called as BART, Backup and Recovery Manager. Okay. So like Rman, we have Barman, and BART is like Backup and Recovery Manager. Apart from that, other tools are PG Backrest. This is also, famous BSCK Backrest. This also, very famous tool. So there are few other tools which are there. So which can be used for, backing up and recovering the server. Whatever yesterday we learned, so that was completely manual with built-in tool. All these tools also uses the built-in. Barman, for example, so Barman, it requires what we have PG base backup. So PG base backup, yesterday we used PG base backup to take a backup, right? So consistent file system backup, PG base backup does. So even when the server is running, hot backups. Many of you might be knowing the rsync command, right? Anybody knows rsync command? So this is a Linux command. So it is not a Postgres command, it is a Linux command. Yesterday you might have observed there is a lot of work involved from file system, right? For backing up, for recovering. So, we have a lot of work to do from the file system, right? So the rsync command is capable of doing, okay, remotely. Barman also uses another tool, PG receive val. Okay, this tool is very, very strange tool. Okay, this tool is very, very strange tool. You run this tool anywhere on any server. It can work remotely and locally. It will give the credentials like host name, username, password, everything. So it will connect to the Postgres server, and it will pull the val files, redo log files, as if it is a what we say means a replica, a standby. Okay, so it will pull. So it has the capability of pulling that as a synchronous replica or a asynchronous replica. That is the receive val thing. Okay, So barman uses this to pull the wall files out of the server to the barman server, so that they can be secured outside that, so the recovery. So in any case, you don't have any kind of data loss if you use the receive wall. Okay, these are the Postgres tools and the Linux tool barman relies on. Okay, PG based backup or sync. Rsync is like a copy command in Linux. If those who are not familiar with rsync command, it's like a copy command. Like a copy command. It has the capability of copying the files from one server to another server. So that is what the rsync command is. Okay. There is any other command which can do like rsync?
SCP.
Yes, you're right.
But rsync only
rsync.
copy the increment data, right?
Yeah, you are right. So SCP can do, but rsync only copies incremental. And SCP copies always full. So that's the reason our barman tool does not use SCP. It uses rsync. Okay. So barman can do incremental backups, no differential backups. So no differential backups, it can perform only incremental backups. Okay, incremental backups it can perform. If the backup method is rsync, so incremental backups are performed only if the backup method is rsync. So the backup method can be either the PG base backup or rsync. So you have two options for backup method to choose. So you can choose PG base backup and rsync. So PG base backup is always full backup. It does not do any increment. It does not have the mechanism to do the incremental backup. I think in 1 or 2 versions, in 1 or 2 years, they are planning to add that. Okay. So that is on agenda. But right now, even in the version 4, it does not have any 14, it does not have any ability to perform the incremental differential backups. So the incremental backup barman can give you by doing an rsync. Okay. So you have to select the backup method rsync, then you will get the incremental backups. Okay. Full backups, you can use rsync as well as PG based backup. PG receive wall, it, it runs separately as a separate process. You have to make it run continuously. Okay. So you have to make it run continuously and it will be continuously fetching the walls. Okay, not archive files. The PG receive wall does not fetch archive files. It fetches the wall. Okay, it fetches the redo log as they are, committed. Okay, once the it is committed, right, immediately, that redo log is fetched by PG receive wall. Exactly, it work as, the standby. So standby servers, what they do, so if there is a commit on the main server, the primary server, the standby server immediately receives that wall copy, right? So PG receive wall does exactly, it does not go to the archives. So it directly receives the walls as they are generated on the server. Okay. So this will ensure that you have all the walls in your backup server. The barman makes sure that all the walls are there in the backup server in case of recovery, so you will not miss anything. Got it? All the tools uses the same thing: barman, bart, pg, backrest. Barman. Backup methods. So backup methods are rsync for incremental backups or pg based backup. So pg based backup or rsync. So if you use rsync, it will do incremental. Only it is exploiting or using the built-in capability of rsync to do the incremental. Barman is not doing any increments here. Remember, the barman is not doing any increments here. It is the rsync. It has the built-in capability of doing incremental, because basically rsync can copy so changed files, right? It will copy only changed block in the files. So that is what the rsync does. Remote sync command, and the barman utilizing the built-in capability of rsync. How it works? It is recommended that for barman you dedicate one server. Then you can back up the Postgres servers, any number of Postgres servers. Okay, so not just one, any number of Postgres servers can be backed up. Okay, so it will connect rsync, replication as a replica. So because PG base backup and PG receive wall. So these two utilities connect as replica. Okay. So it will do an rsync connection. So it will do a what we say means PG base backup or PG receive wall connection, and performs the backup here, saves the backup locally. So it saves the backup locally. So all the backups, including the walls and everything, are saved locally. Okay. So you can, one barman server is capable of, capable of backing up more than one Postgres server. And for each Postgres server, you can choose the backup method. For each Postgres server, you can choose the backup method. Maybe some requires incremental backups, so you can choose an rsync there. Some requires, so does not require a small databases there of, 2 to 300 GB. So sorry, 10 to 15 GB. So, you can do a full backup every time. You can choose PG based backup. So it's up to you to choose which backup method. For each server, you can decide so whether you want to use the rsync or whether you want to use the PG backup. Okay. The other thing is streaming wall. So wall streaming or streaming wall. So, you can also perform, you can also choose wall streaming for some servers, which are very critical. If you are streaming the wall, you are bringing down that, we have the times, right? Recovery, time to recovery, time to, you can bring down the time to recovery if you are streaming the walls. So you can also, bring down, okay, you can also bring down almost to zero the data loss. So you can, if you are streaming the walls, you can ensure a zero data loss recovery. A zero data loss recovery. Streaming wall is actually done by the tool PG receive wall, right? So PG receive wall does the streaming. Wall streaming is done by PG receive wall utility. Okay. And this utility can do the receiving in synchronous or asynchronous. The asynchronous replication is there, right? Synchronous replication is there. So PG receive wall is like a replica. So it is like a replica. Okay. So it can do synchronous and asynchronous. And if you are doing synchronous, like, you can ensure that there is no data loss at all. Zero data loss you can guarantee. So if you are using asynchronous, so streaming wall, so generally it also 90% of the time it also guarantees zero data loss, but so there is 1% of the time maybe there could be some data loss. Like, in the same way, a synchronous replica and asynchronous replica. So synchronous replicas always have the same data as the primary, and the asynchronous replicas so may not have asynchronous replicas may not have or may not have the last or very latest one or two, hardly one or two transactions. So streaming wall can be done in synchronous and asynchronous method. So, and you can actually, with the barman, you can guarantee zero data loss backup. Zero data loss backup. Got it? Okay. So this is about, also the barman also what it does is, it receives the archiving. Okay. What barman requires is, archive files to be saved. It streams the wall. Okay. It streams the wall. And archive files are also copied to the barman server. Okay. So archive files are redo archive logs. They are also copied to the what we say means barman server. So not just streaming, so it also does archiving. Wall archive to barman. So walls are archived means, the redo logs are archived to barman. So, you have the walls there, you have the archived redo logs, archives are there. Plus, the live walls are also there on the two you have. So, and then what happens is, so that is how it guarantees that there is a zero data loss in case of a main server failure. Zero data loss. Okay. So we have the terms, right? Time to recover, time to, there are 2, 3 terms are there. backup. So I'm not getting right now in that. So, you can achieve, you can reduce the total amount of data loss to zero if you are using Barman. Okay. So setting up Barman is a complicated task because you have to set up. So the Barman server, you have to, then you have to so install some software on each of the Postgres server also. So the thing is, the setup is complicated, but once the setup is done, so the barman will work like a charm and it does not need any, what we say means, any kind of so maintenance or anything. So it does not run as a service. It is like a on call. So if you want to backup now, so you can do a backup now. So streaming wall also, you have to make sure the streaming wall is happening. So there is a cron job you need to do for streaming wall. So streaming wall does not happen like that. You have to do a cron job for streaming wall. Okay. So this is what, so you can create cron job for backing up any server. So every day or, backup schedule you can maintain. So that is what, it also maintains the backup catalog. So for each backup you did, so it will give an ID, backup ID. So when you are restoring, you can choose from backup ID. Okay. So how many days the backup can be retained? So, you have the option of giving, recovery window. So if you give recovery window 4 weeks or recovery window, 8 weeks or, 12 weeks. So that means, within the 12 weeks or 4 weeks, with whatever recovery window you had given. So barman maintains, keeps all the, what we say means walls and everything for that period. So that you can recover it to any point within that recovery window. So within that recovery window, you can recover to any point. Okay. So you can give the recovery window. So for each server, a different recovery window can be given. So for each server, you can give a different backup method. Each server, you can decide whether to stream the walls or not stream the walls. Maybe some unimportant servers are there. So, so you can let them run just with an archive streaming, archive log copying. So that's it, Postgres barman will copy the archive, it won't stream the walls. So that is how, the most of the time barman works. Okay. So, barman is not a service. It does not run as a daemon. So it is the CLI commands. Whenever you want to take a backup, you need to invoke that commands to take the backup. Whenever you want to see something, so the commands are given. So you need to use those commands. You have to get familiar with those commands. Okay. So that is about, our barman. Any questions if we have? So you can ask me right now. So after this, I will go to the lab and I will set up the barman server. So in our lab machine, you can see one barman server is there, right? So, one barman server is there. So you have to set up that. One thing missing in our lab is the PostgreSQL server does not have the CLIs of barman. So those CLIs are not there. So we need to copy them and we need to install barman. So CLI. So some software needs to be installed on Postgres server. Barman requires the full software. So Postgres server requires barman CLI. So there is a thing called as barman CLI. So it is required on each Postgres server. Okay. On barman server, you need barman server, barman CLI, and Postgres client, PG client. So you need these three things on Barman server. So just installing Barman is not enough, because the Barman heavily relies on PG based backup, PG receive walls. So it has it uses those tools. So you need to install the PG client there. Okay, on the Barman server you need to install the PG client. So Barman utilizes that PG client. rsync will be there on each of the Linux server. So there is no need to install rsync, because rsync is already available. Okay. Barman is developed in Python language. So, Python language. So either Barman CLI or, the Barman server, it requires the Python support. So you need to install Python libraries both on the Postgres server and also on the Barman server. Then only the Barman CLI Barman server works. Okay. So you need to do the Python. You need to install the Python also on both the servers. Okay. So this is what about the Barman. So if you have any questions, you can ask right now. In the meantime, I will go to the lab and check. So where is my lab? So this is what my lab setup is, So I did some experiments last night. So anyways, so this is my lab. So I think it should be good enough. So what I need here is, on this server, I need to install Barman, CLI, and Python. So here you can see we have a Barman server. So just start it. Start the Barman server. So it will come up. So we will install the Barman software, which is already copied in the Barman server. So 172.23.21.27. So this is Barman. Okay. Appearance. Change that to 18 points bold. Okay. And I will change the color also. Okay. Foreground color. So default foreground color. So we use red color. You can also use green color if you would like, or yellow color. So I'm using so red color, or I use yellow color. So default foreground color. So 187. Okay, session. barman save. So pen accept. Okay, is it this color is visible to you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so or and then bar. So here the login is not admin but DB admin. So DB admin. So I have given this. So DB admin. So if you look into this, so you have the software as usual. So the software is there. So what we have is the Postgres lives and Postgres client. So this software is needed. So this software is needed because the barman relies on our Postgres tools. Then we have Python 3 Psycho PG2. So Python 3 barman CLI, barman, okay, barman. So these are the RPMs we need. First of all, we will install our Postgres client. So you guys already know how to install the Postgres client, right? So we install the server. Okay. So barman. So first of all, on barman server, install Postgres client. So that is the task number one. I will go to the yellow thing and here I will install the barman server. Okay. So sudo, so same thing. I will install the what we say means Postgres lives. Okay. It got installed. Sudo, I used only I didn't use IVH to get that progress bar and other thing. So you can do it quietly. So install. So I need to install the Postgres client on the barman server. Okay, the Postgres client requires this LZ4 dependency. LZ4 is a compression tool. So, you need to install that dependency. Somehow I missed installing the dependency. So what I can do is, we have a yum command. So if your Linux server has direct internet access, uh, so you can do it fast. So I'm saying install what we say means uh, that dependency. So this is the command where I installed the libs. Now I am installing that LZ4 dependency. Sorry, you need to run the yum command as super user. RPM, yum, and DNF. These are the three commands in the Linux which allows you to install, uninstall software. So the DNF and yum command works only if internet connection is there or you have a local repository. Okay. So LZ4 is installed. Okay. LZ4 is installed. So once LZ4 is there, so we can go ahead and install our Postgres client RPM. So Postgres client RPM got installed. So Postgres client RPM also got installed. So here, once the Postgres client RPM got installed, right? So you can check out USR, PGSQL. So I installed the 15 client actually. So we have 14 right there. We don't have 15 in the, so wrong client I have installed. So probably, bin directory. So you have all this. So some of the PG base backup and, actually PG receive wall, they are version dependent. So, by mistake, I have installed the 15. I think I have copied the 15. So, but actually we need to, do the 14 version. So anyways, what we will do is we will install the 14 version also. So without any issues, we will install the 14 version. Okay. Rather, we have the 14 version in our, this server, we have the 14 version. So, we have 14 version here. So we can copy that 14 version. So we can use rsync. So V14 to, DB admin at, so what was that IP address? So barman's IP 172.23.21.27. So 172.23.21.27. Okay. So I want to copy it in that folder, in the home directory of DB admin. Okay. It was very quick. So let us see if it has done or not done. Okay, V14 is there. So V14 is there. Okay. So see rsync how it works. What I can do is simply I can, what we say means install it. So I will say sudo rpm -qa. So grep Postgres. So these are the two Postgres RPMs we have installed. So, I can simply say RPM E. So that is, erase. So RPM E means erase. So I need to add a sudo here. So sudo RPM E again erase lives. So both this one I am uninstalling. So this is how you uninstall. Even the server can be uninstalled like this. So first you need to do this command, and then you get the list of RPMs which are installed. Then using RPM E you can uninstall one by one. So now I will install my 14 version RPMs. So sudo RPM dash I. So I am installing lives. Sudo RPM dash I. I'm installing this PGD, that is client. So both of them got installed. Both of them got installed. So sync version 14 Postgres to Barman server. So this step is needed for you guys. So, because so we can directly download there, or, you can also, rsync it. So the command is this one, right? So I did an rsync. So from my DB server to Barman server. So install Postgres client. On Barman server, install Python modules for Barman. So on Barman server, I am installing Python modules for Barman. So, I have to go back to software. So PWD and LS. So, here I have all the software, okay, including that wrong libraries. So including the wrong libraries. So, I can just run the command sudo RPM I. Okay. So first of all, you need to install this psychocopy, the psychopg. So Python 3 psychopg needs to be installed first, because this is the one which allows the barman to be able to talk to Postgres. It is like the connector. Okay, it got installed. Sudo RPM dash I. So Python 3 barman I need. So this is the Python 3 barman. Sudo RPM dash I. So barman CLI I need. So barman CLI is the barman commands. Okay. And I have RPM dash I. So the last one is the barman itself. So we are installing the barman itself. Okay, done. So the barman's software got installed. So we have our barman's server ready. On the Postgres server, which each Postgres server you want to backup, you need to install the barman CLI. Barman is not needed, but barman CLI is needed. Then only, so the recoveries and all work perfectly. So you can manage without that also, but that is going to be a trouble. So install barman server, install Python modules. Okay, these are the two Python modules we did. And then we have installed barman software. On barman server, install barman, CLI and barman. Okay. Okay, so we have installed the barman here. So this is what we have done for installation. Any questions regarding the installation? So I'm taking that as no questions. So we are all good with the barman installation. So during the installation, what it does is it creates a barman user on the barman server. Cat etc. So password. So rather I would say tail. Tail. So last 4 lines I am tailing password file. So you can see this barman backup and recovery manager. One user got created. Okay. So barman backup and recovery manager. That is barman backup and recovery. MAN for manager for Postgres. The home directory of this user is where live barman. So it is its default shell is bin bash. So this user got created. So this user got created. So note that. Rather, we would have said tail one, right? So this is what. Okay. Okay. Click on barman, Linux user barman created. Okay. During barman installation. So the Linux user got created during barman installation. You need to set a password for this user. You can set a password. Barman. So, you need to do a sudo. So I am giving the password as barman only. So barman in production servers. So you need to give a proper password. So set a password for barman user. So set a password for barman user, Linux user it is. Okay. Okay. So that is done, all done. So, we have the barman installed barman. So there are few things you need to check here. So that is, in the etc directory. So there is a Oops, wrong. etc. In the etc directory, you check there is a barman.conf file is created. So which is owned by root user, and only root user has the read write permissions. And there is a barman.d directory. This is directory and this is a file. So the barman global configuration is saved in the barman.conf file, and per server configuration for each server you are backing up through barman. So that configuration you will be saving in this etc directory, etc barman.d directory. So what we have in that, barman d directory. So there is nothing right now. There is nothing in it. You have some templates here. SSH streaming server conf, passive server conf, some templates are given. So for your personal, if you want to see some template, it means if you want to have some template, so you can, okay. So this is what right now we have. Okay, this is now right now we have in the etc. So you become the sudo barman. So sudo barman. So right now you are barman user. Okay. So pwd. So this is your directory. So it is empty right now. So but when you configure your first server, so it will, for each server you are backing up, so it will put the files in this directory. So you have to make sure that this should be a mount point with a large amount of space. So it should be a mount point with a large amount of space. Okay. So and local mount point should be good, because the NFS mount points are slower. So it should be a local mount point. So with a large space, you should mount under where lib barman. Okay. So you need to set a path for the barman server. So you need to set a path for the barman user on barman server. So I am saying vi.bash profile. So this file is not there. You need to create this file. So I think, what I will do is, to be safer side, I use this one so that it will create in the home directory. So here one line I will write export. We need to give the path of, the Postgres. Okay. So we need to give the path of Postgres. USR pgsql-14/bin. So colon $path. This one line is needed here. So, this one line is needed here. Okay. So I am setting the path. Source. Okay. So I am putting this one line in the bash profile file. Okay. So, now you can say here which PG base backup. Okay, it works. Which PG receive wall. So, it is perfectly showing. So this is a must. So this is a must. So, the tools should be directly accessible, so to the barman user. Otherwise, the backups does not work. Okay. So I think, we are, one more thing we need to do. Okay. One more thing we need to do. Both the barman server and, the Postgres server should be able to talk. So should be able to talk. Okay. Both of them should be able to talk. Okay. So how they will be able to talk? So, with IP addresses. So IP addresses is somewhat confusion in our lab environment. The IP addresses changes, but in production server, because the IP addresses does not change. So what we can do is we can use the host files, to set our DNS server. If you have in production, that should be fine. But for now, so I am going to, DB admin. So I am changing sudo vi, so etc host file. So I want to directly make, I think everybody, those who are in Oracle, very much familiar with this, right? So those who are in Oracle, they are pretty much familiar with host file. So I'm not sure about DB2 guys. If you are using on Linux, definitely you should be familiar. SQL Server guys, so in Windows also you have the host file, but generally we don't use, because Windows can do, NetBIOS address translation, DNS address translation. Unix can only do DNS address translation, not NetBIOS. So otherwise, Unix also provides this host file also. Okay, for name resolution. So what I am going to do is our Postgres server. So the IP address is 723.24.172, right? So I am giving the IP address 172.23.24.172. Okay. So it is, the short name is DB server. The long name is DB server.example.com, right? And what is the IP of our barman? So 17.23.24. So you come here, click on the barman. So, and go to this one. So the barman IP address is 172.23.21.227. So the host name is barman server, barman server.example.com. So these are the two entries I made in the, that, I had given the IP address, small name, and a long name, full FQDN also. So, you can just do. So, the host name is of this barman server is barmanserver.example.com. The host name for, DB server is dbserver.example.com. So, so we need to do this one on both the servers. So we need to put these two lines in both the servers. So, setting up barman is initially elaborate thing. So, but once you do it, one time you do it, taking backup and all are very, very simple. Okay. Okay. So you need to do the same two lines in our Postgres server also. So the same two lines are needed on Postgres server also. So actually you can copy that file over there. So you can say sudo vi etc, so host. Okay. So I just copied in that window and I pasted in this window. So same two lines. Okay. So same two lines on, our DB server also. So usually in production environments, some production environments need this. So, but most of the production environments, they will be able to, they have the DNS name resolution set. So you don't need to do this step, but you should know it. So I think all Oracle guys know perfectly this one, right? So ping Borman server. So I should be able to ping it. So from here, I should be able to ping the DB server. So, I'm able to ping the DB server. So the etc host thing is perfectly set. So once the etc host thing is perfectly set, so now it is time for us to do some changes. So we need to install the barman software on the Postgres server also, and we need to change the configuration of Postgres server. So we need to change the archive command. As I said, barman wants the Postgres servers to send the archives, okay, to the barman server. Don't save the archives locally on the Postgres server. So save them on the barman server so that barman can have complete control on recovery process. So, these are the things we need to do. Okay. So at this point, barman installation is over. So, and the barman, what we say means, so barman installation is over. And also, the barman, we have set up the, the configuration. We have set up the name resolution for the barman and Postgres. So I will just summarize what we did so that we can track what we are doing. So far what we did here is number one, install Postgres client on barman server. So we did it to install barman software on barman server. Okay. Number three, set password for barman user. Okay. Number four, set path for barman user. Okay. And then number five, set etc host file, etc host file, so that barman server and Postgres server ping each other. So far we have did. So other thing what we need to do is set up passwordless. So set up passwordless SSH keys from, okay. So Postgres servers, PG user, Postgres user to barman servers, barman user. So Postgres server, Postgres user should be able to SSH without password to barman, and the barman should be able to SSH without password to the Postgres. So the keyless, passwordless key-based SSH we need to configure between the Postgres server and barman. Postgres servers, Postgres user, and barman servers, barman user. So this is done by the command. So I have put some commands here. So there are two commands are there. So you have to run on each server. Okay, the Windows is still not very sure whether it is running on a laptop or it is running on a tablet. So that is the problem still with the Windows. So that's the reason, on that, on-screen keyboard backup. So, there are two commands you need to run. So, the SSH keygen TRSA, SSH copy ID. So these two commands, okay, see. So Windows is still confused whether it is a tablet or whether it is a laptop. So that's the problem. Oops. So SSH copy ID and SSH keygen, okay. RSA keys we will use. Generally, RSA keys are more secure. Also, DSA keys also there. So, but our instructions include RSA keys only. So SSH, so you can do it first on any server. Okay. So, I'm copying this. So, okay. So I cannot paste it in there, right? So I will go there. So, this is my barman server. So first I will set up from, Postgres server to barman. Who am I? So right now I am admin. So, I will simply say su Postgres, Postgres. So here I will run SSH. So keygen, okay, hyphen T RSA. So this is the command I am running to generate the key on my Postgres server. Okay. So this is the command I am running. So, under the user, this is very important. Who am I? So SSH keygen T RSA. So this is the command SSH keygen RSA I am using. SSH keygen -T RSA. So this will generate a SSH key on the Postgres DB Postgres user of Postgres server, Postgres database server. So so just press enter key. So empty phrase, don't give any phrase, passphrase. So leave it empty. Okay. So it is done. So the ID is generated. So you press enter for everything. So this is very important for barman. Barman should be able to do passwordless entry to, Postgres server, should be able to perform any activity it want to. So related to, so set up passwordless SSH between Postgres server and barman server. So, this is a very important step. Okay. So next is, once you have generated the key, so that key needs to be copied over to the barman server, right? So the key needs to be copied over to barman server. So there is a command you can manually, you can copy this ID RSA pub to there, or, you can set up, you can use the command SSH copy ID dash I. SSH copy ID dash I. So dot SSH. So ID dot RSA pub. So where to copy? Barman at barman server. Okay. So barman at barman server. So you need to copy to that server in under the barman user. So that is what, I am doing here. Okay. So once you copy this, so you should be able to do passwordless SSH between, the Postgres user to barman user. So yes, you have to type, it will copy the fingerprints. Now it is asking the password for barman user. So the password is barman itself. So this is the command. So you can do, so now try logging with the SSH. So it should be a passwordless. I lost that command. Oh, I pasted so many things. Okay, after doing the SSH, you copy. Now you do SSH, it should be a passwordless thing. So if I say SSH, so barman username at barman server. So immediately it should be able to do a passwordless login. So you can see, so it's a passwordless login, right? So, so I'm able, so we set up the keys properly. We have to, we have to do the reverse from barman server to, we did from Postgres to barman. Now we have to do a reverse barman server to Postgres. Set up passwordless SSH between, so barman server to Postgres server. So, the setup in this is very elaborate, but this is one-time setup. So I will go here, I will become barman user here. So I will become barman user here, and then I will run the same command. SSH, okay, E then dash T. So RSA, same. If you have used RSA there, use RSA here also. So it will ask for, so ID, it will ask for passphrase, leave it empty. Don't give passphrase. Okay. So it is done. So, this is done. So again, now you need to copy this key to, our Postgres server. So you need to copy this key to Postgres server. So for that, we need the command copy SSH copy ID, okay, dot SSH ID RSA pub to Postgres at DB server. So DB server is our host name for our Postgres server. So it will ask for the Postgres password. So it will ask for the fingerprints. Password is Postgres. Okay, so done. So this is also done. So, we did the passwordless connection between the Postgres server and Barman. We spent more than 1 hour. So, but we are almost there. Actually, once you set up, it takes 5 minutes to demonstrate how to take the backup. So, that time is very less. So we need to test it, whether it is working fine or not. SSH Postgres at DB server. We are able to log into the DB server. So this is we are able to do. So I think we are very good, right? So our SSH setup is there. So almost we are done here, but few more tasks are there. One of the tasks is one of the tasks is install task number 7, install Barman CLI on Postgres. So this is not needed until you want to perform the recovery. So for taking the backup, it is not needed but for recovery, it is needed. Okay. So, that is, we can do it later also, but we can anyways, we have to do it. So install Barman CLI on Postgres. So that we need to do. Apart from that, so we need to create a configuration for our DB server, Postgres server. Barman configuration for Postgres. So in the Barman configuration of Postgres server, we will be giving how to connect to the Postgres, what is the SSH command it has to use, what type of backup we want, rsync backup or the PG based backup. So whether we want streaming walls, we want archiving, so everything. So that we need to do. And there are few more things also, a lot of things are there. So number 9, I am writing number 9 here. Okay. So I'm writing number 9 here. Okay, so we need to adjust. Okay, so restore archive command in the adjust archive command on Postgres. So this archive command needs to be adjusted, okay, so that it can send the archive files to the barman server. So it has to send the archive files to the barman server, okay. So this needs to be adjusted, okay. So we use the rsync. Yesterday we have seen that archiving we set up using cp command, right? Because it was a local copy. But today, so as we need to send the archives to the barman server, we use the rsync command, and rsync uses the passwordless keys which we have set up. So to copy the archives from the Postgres server to the barman, so continuously. Okay. So always keep in mind. So always the archives are copied to the barman server continuously. Okay, that is needed. So this is needed. So so we need to adjust the archive command on Postgres. So first of all, we will create a configuration for Postgres server, then we adjust the archive command. So later on, we can do the barman CLI installation. Okay, as barman CLI installation on the Postgres is required only for recoveries, so we can do it later also. Okay, that's not the pressing thing. So so Postgres configuration, what I will do is I will save this file. So the barman file. Okay, save as drive, my drive, so DXC, so labs. Okay, so we have barman.txt. So I will just close from here. Okay, okay. So in our lab machine, so now it will be easier for me to access that file. Okay, so just do a refresh. So you will get that barman commands. So barman commands.txt. Okay, so here you can installation passwordless SSH setup. So user for barman to connect. Okay, so we need a user in the Postgres to connect for the barman user. So this user, as per the documentation, so just create a user with replication. That's what they say. But however, so sometimes a super user is needed. So for recovery and all, this user should be super user. So anyways, you can create this user with replication, and you can you have to grant these permissions, and you also need to put an entry in the hba.conf file. Okay, so you need to grant this. So you have to grant start backup. Yesterday we did start backup, stop backup, right? So it also does the same thing. It also does the same thing here. So manually it will connect to the Postgres, and the barman will issue the start backup, then it will rsync, then it will issue the stop backup. So if it is a rsync based backup, so it will do that things what manually you did yesterday. So you can also switch walls. So it will also switch walls once the backup is over. And so there is a restore points you can create in the barman. So it will also do that. So barman also need to read all the settings and all the stats. So, you need to grant. So these two roles, these are roles, built-in roles. PG read all settings, PG read. So you need to do all these things. Or, simply you can create a barman user as super user. After giving all these permissions also, sometimes few things does not work. So I have seen that, few things does not work. So you need to give the super permission, then everything works. So, so what we will do is we will create this barman user as a super user. So very simple and sweet. So, PSQL. So here what I'm doing is, so I'm creating a user, create user barman. So because I'm using it for barman, I'm creating the user called as barman with super user replication password secret. Okay. So the user I have created. So because I have created a super user, I don't need to give all the permissions. So if not, you need to give the permissions. To create a database user, we need a database user. So this is what, okay, this is what I did. So I created a database user with a secret password. I need to exit and I need to give the hba.conf file. So vi, so 14 data, okay, pg underscore hba.conf file. So I need to add, so I need to add a line for our barman user. So in the beginning, I am writing, okay. So the command is local. Database is what we say, replication. Okay, we don't need local actually. Barman connects host only. So host database is user is barman. Address is barman server. Method is scram sha 256. Host database all. So barman server. So scram shop. So the problem is we are using scram shop. Every time barman want to connect to the Postgres, it requires a password, right? So every time barman want to connect, it requires a password. So what we can do is, so I have added these two lines here in the beginning of the file. We need to make sure that the barman, okay, so we'll be able to connect to the Postgres passwordless. So we have to make sure that. Okay, how you are going to make sure is, so these things are done, and so a super user is a better option. I'm telling you. So Many times, some of the functions of the barman requires that super user permission. So that's the reason, you need to give super user. So you need to create a PG pass file. So, you need to create a PG pass file with this. So on the barman server. So this file makes sure that, this file makes sure that passwordlet entry is possible for barman. So I will create that file on the barman server. So vi dot pg pass, it's a special file to save the passwords, Postgres user passwords. So this file has 4 columns. So, all the columns are separated by a colon. 5 columns you have. So the last one is secret, that is the password. So if you want, you can give the username also. In the 4th column, you can give username. So, this is what, it works for any user with secret password. So PG pass file I have created. So that the setup is very elaborate. So it takes a lot of time. So just, hang on. On barman server, create .pg pass file for passwordless Postgres authentication. So passwordless Postgres authentication. Okay. So, that is what, the next thing what we are going to do is, so this is done and, this file should be chmod 600, otherwise it won't work. So to test it, I am running a command on the DB server. Okay. So on the DB server, I am running the command. So I will say chmod.pg pass. So then I will say, okay, PSQL hash h. So that is, DB server hash u. So barman user, this is the database user we created in the Postgres. So that is the user is barman. And what I am going to do is C. So to run a command, so that command is select version. Okay, select version. Okay, so I think that should be enough. Okay, see, there is a problem. So connection to the server, DB server port 5432 failed, no HBA. Okay. You know why this came? We changed the hba.conf file, but we didn't reload the reload, right? So we need to do reload. pg underscore ctl reload. Okay, now it should work here. Database barman. Okay, we need to give a database name also. Sorry. D Postgres. Now it should work fine. It has worked fine, right? So always, if you use a user, always it assumes that there is a database with the same username and it will try to connect. So that's the reason if it is not there, so you have to provide the username, database name also to connect to. So, this is what, tells us, the user setup, passwordless user setup is perfectly working. So, it didn't ask for the password. It simply executed this command, right? You can execute any command now. You can execute any command. So whichever you want, any SQL command. So here I am saying select star from T1. See, so any commands from barman server, you are executing the command on a remote PostgreSQL server, right? So this is how you should be able to test. So, and it is happening passwordless. So I think, our testing is good. So our passwordless authentication for Postgres has been set up. Okay. So next thing is we need to create a barman configuration. So nothing to change in the global configuration barman.conf, but we need to create a configuration for our database server, which we are going to backup. So for that, I have, these entries. So I will go over these entries. So I will go over all these entries. Okay. So copy it. Okay, you need to create this file in the barman server. Exit from here. So, you need to be DB admin because you are doing a sudo here. Sudo etc. So barman.d. Okay, sorry. Barman.d. Okay, db server.conf. So this new file I am creating in the barman D directory. For each Postgres server you want to backup, you need to create a separate configuration file. So, these are the things I have copy pasted. Description, you can give anything here. So SSH command, Postgres is DB server. So yeah, that is the correct. So host is connection info DB server. Username is barman and DB name is so Postgres. So connection info is backup method. You can use Postgres or rsync. If you use Postgres backup method, it will do PG based backup, which cannot do incremental. If you use backup method rsync, so you know how the rsync works, right? It use rsync command to backup. It will do file system level, cold file system level backup. Sorry, hot file system level backup by running the command as pg start backup. So then perform the rsync and then run the command pg stop backup. Streaming archiver. So we want that we want it that uh, the the walls to be streamed directly. Okay. So we want that slot name. So this one is so this slot name is. So as you know that sometimes what happens is so if the redo logs are read continuously by any other standby, sometimes due to network lag or something, there could be a chance that standby will not be able to get the redo logs. So sometimes the server will not retain the redo logs. So right, you have the problem there. So Postgres, if you want to tell the server that irrespective of whatever happened, so retain the redo logs which are required by the standby. So you need to use the slot name. You need to create a slot and you need to use the slot name. So it forces the Postgres server to retain the walls. So beyond the max wall size. Okay. So for each replica, you can do it. Okay. Because, the streaming archiver. So that is, it will continuously reads the, as a replica, as a standby, it will continuously read the redo logs and save it locally to the barman. Okay. So that's the reason we need that slot name to make our, streaming walls more robust. It should not break. So if it breaks, what happens sometimes if it breaks? So, and before the walls are copied, if the Postgres server recycles them, so we will be having the problem, right? So we can eliminate the chance by giving, slot name. Archiver on, so we need archiver. Retention policy is recovery window of 4 weeks. So retention policy is given in plain English. So recovery window of 4 weeks, recovery window of 10 weeks. So whatever you want, you can also give months also. Recovery window of 3 months, 4 months also you can give. Okay, these are the config. This is the configuration. I am choosing rsync based, okay, replication. So the only difference is if you use Postgres based replication, it will, if you use Postgres backup method, it will backup using PG based backup. So if the backup method is rsync, so it will use the rsync command and it will be able to do incremental backups. So the DB server is, so this configuration is done. So this configuration I have written for each server you want to backup, you need to put this configuration. You need to set the configuration. So some servers may be doing PG based backup. Some server may be doing, uh, maybe doing, rsync backup. Some server requires a recovery period of 4 weeks. Some server requires a longer recovery period. Some servers does not require longer recovery period. 1 week is enough for them, right? Okay. So now once this configuration is created, we are done. So you do su barman. So barman. So you clear the screen. So right now, so you can run some commands here to check. So if everything is good, okay. So one more thing is important. We need to adjust the archive command. We need to adjust the archive command. So this one we need to do. Archive command we need to adjust. So on the Postgres server, then only it will ship the archives. So what we need to do is we need to set the archive mode on and archive command. So you can use this one. So rsync a. So, or you can use this command. So barman server is the host name of the barman server. DB server is the host name of Postgres. So this wall archive, barman wall archive comes onto the, what we say, Postgres server when you install barman CLI on the Postgres server. We haven't done yet. Okay. So once you do this one, so I think we are completed with our setup. Okay. So what we will do is, so we will do that etc. So on Postgres server, so, I am saying vi 14 data postgresserver.conf. So archive mode is on. Archive command is, it is copying to the local. So we don't want that archive command local, right? So we want this command to copy it to the incoming directory on the barman server. So we have the command here. So we simply copy this command. Okay. So you can read this command like, instead of CP, I am using rsync. Rsync A. So from the val directory, PG val directory. So copy to barman at, okay, it is barman server, right? Not DB server. So barman at barman server, where lib barman DB. So server incoming files. So this directory is created. Okay. So when you create that configuration file, so it will create directory for each of the server we are backing up. So this is the our incoming command. Okay. Okay. Command is good. P barman at barman server. Where live barman. So DB server incoming. Okay. Looks good. At 14 data Postgres conf rep archives command. So this is one of the crucial steps. Okay. So here what I am doing is now, so I'm almost done. So, almost done. This is, so some barman command. So, I will say, so list servers, barman list servers. It will list all the servers which we are currently backing up through barman. So even though you have not performed a single backup also, so it will list that. So, DB server it is living. That is the only, and it has given the description of that server. Okay. So next thing is, so, barman list servers, barman status DB server. So some commands are here. So, barman status DB server. So it is wall retention. It is giving all that history. So archive command. So, okay, Postgres archive command, it is taking old one. So we need to check on that. Okay. List backups. So how many backups we have taken on barman using barman. So you can list that. Okay. No backups are taken. So if backups are taken, it will list all the backups. So, whether the barman server is ready to be backed up or not. So you can check with the barman check DB server. So if this command does not returns any errors, that means we are good to take a backup. So, some fails receiving wall receiving has failed, and, replication slot, these two things have failed. So because we have done nothing about the replication slot, if replication slot is done, wall receiving automatically comes. So here you can check. So, automatically this directory is created. Okay. So when you run these commands, right, it will create this directory automatically. All the backups related to our DB server are saved here. Okay, base is, where backup is saved, errors, any errors related to backup, incoming is archived walls, streaming is streaming walls. So it saves. Okay, so set up the walls. Okay, we need to set up the wall. We need to create a wall slot. Okay, we need to create a slot on the Postgres server. So barman receive wall create slot DB server. So it will connect to the DB server and create a slot. So replication slot for itself, so that it won't miss any wall file, any redo file. So from the server created. Okay, this one is created. So replication slot is created. Next thing is, okay, so we have to start that, uh, wall streaming. So we have to start the wall streaming. Okay, wall streaming we need to start. Okay. So, streaming archiver is on in slot name barman. So we need to make sure that these two entries are there in our configuration file. I think we are already given that. So, so we have done that, streaming archiver is on and, slot name is barman. So, so this particular configuration is we already done. There is no need to do the configuration. So you can right now you can run this command barman switch wall. So this will, start, the streaming, and also it will run the switch wall function on the server. Okay. So okay. So you can see that barman switch wall has worked. So it has executed, the pg underscore switch underscore wall function yesterday we learned, right? So, that function it has executed. Now, I think we are all good to start our backup and everything. Okay. So now we need to tell, so we need to tell the barman that, so barman need to continuously receive the wall. So barman need to continuously receive the wall. How can it be done is, so by this simple command barman cron. So once you run this command, so the barman will check all the servers. So this command is not specific to a Postgres server. It's a common command. So it will check all the Postgres servers which are requesting streaming archiver. And if the slot is set up, everything is set up. So it will, so, it has started, streaming the wall. So starting wall streaming server, starting streaming archiver for, so it has already done that. Okay. So you can also check in the incoming directory. So, so not streaming directory. So it will be copying the walls. Okay. So, we are all set. You just run barman check. So if the barman check is successful, we are good to start our. So if it is successful, we are good to start our backups. Oh, sorry. I need to give the server name for which I want to check. So it has not given any red color thing. So Postgres, okay, super user or standard user backup privileges, they are also okay. Postgres streaming, okay, wall level replication slots, everything is okay. Okay, everything is okay. Okay. So we are good to start our backups. Now we are set up. So only thing we have is, we need to set up that barman CLI on our Postgres server also. Actually, that is needed for recoveries. For backups, it is not needed. For recoveries, it needed. So we can set up that later on. Okay. So all that setup we have done. So, to be make sure that we are good. So I am restarting the Postgres. So nothing has broken. Okay. Nothing has broken. So the Postgres is good. Um, and what we will do is, yeah, so that's it. Our setup. Any questions you have, you can ask. Otherwise, we can take a break and we will come back. And then I will show you how to perform the backups. Okay. So we'll take a break then. So see you guys at 4:50. Hope everybody is back. So, so okay, so it's time to start. So I think we are all set for with the barman. Only thing is we need to take a backup. We need to install the barman CLI on the Postgres server. These two tasks are pending. As I said, barman CLI on Postgres server is needed only at the recovery time. So it is not needed at the what we say for taking the backups and all. So so what we'll do is so we will get started and we will see how to take a backup in the barman. So I will go to the lab here. So, taking the backup is the simplest thing in the barman. So you simply check the server you want to check, you want to take the backup. So barman check DB server. So if it returns everything is okay, so receive wall is running. So, this is not running now. So this is the problem which happens, on all the barman server. So what we need to do to fix this problem is, so we need to create a cron job. So I can fix this problem simply by saying barman cron. So if I run this command, so it will start that wall receive wall. So that is wall streaming it starts, and you don't have any what we say means any errors now. So there are no errors now. So but every time you cannot let it stop, right? Every time you cannot let it stop. So for that, it is recommended for you to create a cron job for that barman cron command. So you need to create a cron job. So Linux cron job, again, we are relying on the Linux. So I want to tell you guys, so barman does not work on Windows servers. If you have Postgres Windows server, barman does not work. So you need Linux servers only because rsync, SSH, passwordless SSH, cron job. Okay, cron job you can have in the Windows also, but these things are not there in Windows. So that's the reason barman only works on Unix and Linux servers. So cron tab -e, you can give this command. So you have to create a cron job, so which runs every minute. Which barman? So USR bin barman, right? So you have to create a cron tab. Cron tab -e. So I want my cron tab to run every minute. So minute is star. Okay, hour is star. So month is all months. All what we say means so all days of the month, all months, all weekdays, Monday to Saturday. So the command is USR in barman cron. So this command should run every minute, it should run on the server. Then only wall streaming works. And you can almost reduce the recovery time, so you can guaranteed recovery to the last what we say means transaction to almost zero. So this command you need to put. So you need to create a cron job, so which runs every minute. USR bin barman cron. So this command should run. So always it should run. Okay. So now, even after a gap of, so if you check, so DB server, it will show everything is okay, because, in the background, so that cron job will be triggering that, the streaming of walls. Okay, hope this is something. So we need to, as a DBA, you need to make sure on the barman server. So this cron job I have created. So, this barman command should always be running. Okay, on the barman server. So this is what I have done. So I am good to start by taking the backups. So what I'm doing is to take the backup. It is very simple. So you have to say barman backup DB server to back up the DB server. If you have any other server, just back up that server also. So it will start backing up. So so via rsync SSH. So asking Postgres, backup is successful. Okay. So this is the command to backup. So it is very simple and very easy command, right? This is the command to backup. Okay. So you can see all the messages it has done. This is the first backup for DB server, asking Postgres to finalize the backup. So 36 MB. So this is the start lesson. So all that things it has given. So, this is the backup is very simple. So you do this. So you are not mentioning incremental backup. You are not mentioning differential backups. You are simply backing up. If it is rsync, automatically it will only copy the, what we say means, it will only copy the, so it will only copy the required changed files. It won't copy all other files. If it is PG based backup, it will copy, so it will do the full this thing. Okay. So anyways, this is how, we have backed up our server for the very first time. Now that, we are able to back up the server, we will go and we will install, barman CLIs on the Postgres server. So from admin, so what you need to do is SCP. So PB admin at barman server. We need the software. So I am copying that software from software star to what we say means home directory. So I'm copying the software from, the barman server to this one. So what we need is, the barman CLI, the barman, so Python 3, Psycho PG, Python 3 barman. So by barman CLI, 3 RPMs we need, but I'm copying everything. I can also use rsync. I can also use rsync command. So, rsync is very good command. Okay. Oh shit. So it didn't copy it properly. It didn't copy it properly. So mkdir barman. I will rerun that command. So now it has copied. So this one command, I have pulled all the software, barman related software. Set up barman CLI on Postgres. Barman software, copy barman software from barman server. So now that we have the software here, so I should be able to log in. I should be able to install. What I need to install is, I need the PG Python 3 Psycho PG 2. So this I need. Python 3 barman I need, barman CLI. So these are the three. Already our Postgres is installed. Postgres lives and clients both are installed. There is no need to install them again. So I'm saying sudo rpm-i. So Python Psycho PG. So it is done. Sudo rpm-i. So Python barman. Okay. Okay, there is one more dependency is there. Python 3 arg complete. I don't know why it is not, didn't ask on our server. So, you can do yum installation here. Yum install arg complete. Sudo yum, I forgot. Okay, Okay, sudo yum install. Okay, it should install that. Okay, it is doing perfect. So actually, if your system is connected to internet, so installing any software is easy. If it is not connected to internet, so installing software is not easy. So barman, Python 3 barman. Sudo rpm-i. So barman CLI is needed. So barman CLI. So these are the three softwares we have installed on our Postgres server to get the barman CLI. Each Postgres server you want them to have what we say means so you want to backup, so you need this barman CLI installation. That is mandatory. Okay. So, our barman setup and backup, everything is completed. So only thing what we need to look at now is, so that is our recovery. So we took one backup also, right? We took one backup also. So, so the recovery can be done. Okay, one more thing is, we already created a cron job for barman cron so that it can stream the valves regularly. So, there is one more thing. So, if you want your DB server to be backed up, so you can set up another cron job here. And right now, what we did is manual backup, right? So generally we don't do manual backups. Okay. So we need to set up automate the backup. So for that, you need to create another cron job for each DB server. So this cron is common for all servers you are backing up. So, barman cron, just one job is enough for even if you have 100 servers. So that one job will take care of, streaming the walls, streaming the redo logs to the backup server. So, but for each server you want to backup automatically, you need to create a cron job. So that is up to you. So, I have given one example of a cron job. So which runs early morning 4 a.m. So on all days, so, the third one is days of month, that is first day, second day of the month. So the fourth star, this one is months. So January, February, so that months. And the last star represent weekdays, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. So it runs on all days. So at 4 a.m., so it runs. So this is what, if you want, you can create. So in the lab, I am not going to create that. I'm not going to do that, right? So so, so that is how we are completed with our barman. So, so you can also do one thing here. So barman list backups. Okay, one backup is there. So this is the backup ID. So this is the server. This is the backup ID. So list backup command, list the backups which are done. So we'll do one more backup. So as we can do more backups, so we will do more backups. So it is very easy. Backing up is very easy. Recovery is also very easy. So early setup is very big headache. Okay. Not headache. So many steps are involved. So now you do a list backup. It is listing two backups. So this is the first backup and this is the second backup. So it is listing two backups. Okay. So this backup is done 16/4/33. This backup is done 4/22 IST. So, right. So this is the latest backup. So 2023/04/21. This is the date timestamp actually it is. The backup ID is nothing but timestamp. 16 time is 16:33. Okay. So you can interpret that, timestamp. This is also timestamp. 2023/04. So 21, today is 21, exactly today is 21. So the time was 16 and with that you can also show, it shows the date as well here. So with backup ID also you can see the date. So that is also date, but here it will elaborately tell date and tells how much MB it has done and table space also it has backed up. Okay. So now we are ready for recovery also because our barman is here. So barman CLI is installed on our DB server. So Postgres. So there is something, you can check out. LS USR pin barman. So these are, all these things. You can also set up barman cloud backup also to the S3. So AWS S3 using this cloud backup tool. So you can set up that. So, val archive. So val restore, this is the command val1 var restore is the command which restores the val from the during the restoration. Okay, so these two tools, all tools are related to cloud, but these two tools are so for archiving command, archive command, we use the rsync. So you can replace the rsync command with the val archive. So barman val archive command you can use. So for restore command, barman val restore, this is must. So this is optional, but this is must. Okay. So then only restore happens. So what we'll do is we will log into our Postgres server. So we will make some changes and then we will crash our server and we will perform a restoration. Right. So this is what we will do. So I am connecting to what we say means our Postgres server. Select star from T1. So I will do an update. So T1. So this is the moment of truth, right? So set name. So is equal to DD where ID is equal to 4. So this one change I have done after the backup. This change I am doing is after backup. So this change is done after backup, right? So I will exit from here. So, this is the change I did after backup. Okay. So if I perform the recovery, what I can do is what I need is this change also should come. So this change also should be recovered. So that is what I am expecting. So anyways, this is the change I did. So after the backup, so I have the backups. So what are the recovery procedures are? So, before recovery, Postgres will allow, Barman allows you to restore in a different directory. So, if you don't want to touch the original data directory, you can perform the restore on a different directory and you can start the service from different directory and you can check whether the restore was done properly or not. Or otherwise, you can restore in the same data directory. So which was the original directory. Okay. So what you need to do here is stop Postgres service, empty the data directory and all the table space directories you need to empty. So the data directory and table space directories you need to empty. Okay. So then on Barman server, so you list the backups. So you identify the latest backup or the backup which you want to restore from. So, use this ID. So the command is barman recover. So DB server. So backup ID and the directory on the DB server where you want to restore. Okay. So this directory is on DB server, not on barman server. So, there are options like get val. So get val means while restoring, it will copy all the val back. So all the latest val back to the server. And remote SSH command you need to give. So, from barman to, Postgres server, this is the SSH command. So it uses SSH to do a lot of things there. And, the target timeline is latest. So, you have to give the latest target time. You can also give a time frame also. So you can give, so I want to restore till so and so date and time you can give, because we have 4 weeks of recovery time, right? Recovery window of 4 weeks we have. So we can recover till any point of time by giving the target, time we can give. TLI is, timeline. So that is latest. So target timeline is latest. So you can give, other options also to give a particular date time to, if you want to do a point in time recovery. Okay. So this is what, after barman has successfully copied back the backup to your database server. So, you need to check the archive command. So archive command. is changed by, the restore command. You need to check the archive command. Archive is disabled. So on the restored server, and you need to check the, what we say means recover restore command. So barman does all the post installation. It will make the database ready for start. So for recovery, barman CLI is needed on Postgres server. After running barman recover, verify post, it will make some entries into Postgres and conf file for restore command and recovery timeline. For these two, it will use the Postgres auto.conf file, not PostgreSQL.conf file. It does all needed configuration and make the Postgres ready to start. Okay, by default on the recovered server, wall archiving is disabled. So you need to re-enable the wall archiving. So, so these are the few things. So I think, we are very good. So we will list. So we are all good. So we have to stop the server, and, we can go ahead. Okay. So I think, so we are good here. We will stop Postgres on DB server. We will stop Postgres on DB server. Okay, Postgres database is stopped, and we need to. So we need to empty the table space directory also. First, we will. So we will take a backup of it. Okay, just in case. Okay. So just empty it. Okay. So go to 14 data. So go to 14. So, you take a backup of the 14 also. So then go to data directory. So empty this data directory also. So, I have my data directory empty. So my table space directory is also empty. So both of them empty. Once they are empty, so you need to run this barman recover command. Barman list backup DB server. So it is showing two backups are there. So this one and this one. So two backups are there. It is showing. So that is, I want to recover from the latest backup. So, so I want to recover from the latest backup. So what I'm going to do is, so I can just run the command barman recover. So we will write our recovery steps. Recovery steps. So on Postgres server, empty. So on Postgres server, empty data directory and table space directories. Okay. So that is number one. Okay. So once you have done it, so you are good to start recovery. Barman, so barman recover. So the command is elaborate, so you make a note of it. So it takes time to remember. So barman recover, server name DB server and the backup ID. And the data directory where you want to recover. Okay. Barman recover. So DB server. And this is what the backup ID which I want to recover, the latest backup ID. Okay. Then the data directory where I want to recover. So the data directory where I want to recover is this path is on the Postgres server. So I am saying where live, so PGSQL, so 14 data. This is the path on the Postgres server. So then we have to use the options get vals to stream the val and remote SSH command. So remote SSH command. So get val. So I think it is dash not underscore. Yeah. Remote SSH command all dashes. Remote SSH command is so remote SSH command. Oops. So in the double quotes, you give the SSH command and target TLI is latest. Okay. In the double quotes, you give the SSH Postgres at DB server. Okay. Target TLI is latest. So this is the command barman recover DB server. This is the backup ID I want to recover. I want to recover in the data directory. So I am giving the val and so I am just recovering it. Target TLI is latest. So it is performing the recovery now. It is copying the backup. So it is saying that so getval is in specified recovery option. Before you start Postgres server, please review the Postgres auto.conf file. Inside target directory, make sure that restore command can be executed by Postgres user. So recovery is completed successfully. So this is what it has said. Okay. So our Postgres is ready to start the service actually, because we already have the barman CLI in place. Okay. So the post it is ready to start. So there is nothing to do here. So come to the server. So and you check. So this was empty. So right now it is restored. Go to the 14 directory data. So this is also restored. So this is also restored. So it has asked us to check this auto.conf file. Auto.conf file, here it says restore command is barman val restore. So this command should be executable by Postgres user. So user is barman. So barman server example.com DB server. Okay. So as a precaution, you always do this. So if it replies properly, that means, the recovery is okay. And, it also set the target time, recovery target timeline is latest. So, and also it has created the recovery.signal file also created, right? Recovery.signal file also got created. Everything got created. So, so what you need to do is, so you need to just start the service. Just start the service and everything should be fine. So PGCTL start. Everything is not fine. So what is the problem here? Could not start, examine the log output. Invalid log checkpoint record. So Fatal could not locate required checkpoint record. If you are restoring from backup, touch and add required recovery option. If you are restoring from bad, try removing varlite PGSQL backup label. So, what it is asking me is, it is asking me to recovery.signal file is there that is created. So, so we will try one more time. Okay. Table space directory is pointing correctly. Cat bar. So the restore command is barman wall restore pu barman server. Okay. So vi. So vi. So we will just make it barman server. We'll remove example.com. Or we will ping. So sometimes if this is a problem, so no, it is also correct. So it is able to ping that. So barman server user is barman. So barman server DB server. So okay, so we will try to start the service one more time, or we will perform the restore one more time. Could not start the service. Whether the cron job, okay, the recovery will be problematic if the cron job stops here. So if the cron job stops here, recovery will be problematic. Okay. somehow you know, it didn't work. So we need to look into the we are having some problems, issues with this invalid checkpoints recorded. So what it suggests is, you know, remove this file backup label. We will try removing this. So MV backup label to, you know, so I'm copying this file backup label outside this directory. So I will start recovery.jira file is there. So make sure the file is there. Oops, now what is the problem? Due to startup login invalid value not locate valid checkpoint.
Sami, we are not able to hear your voice properly. It's breaking. Is it only for
Is
me?
it
Yeah.
for all it is?
Yes, Sami, it is for all. Like some noise is coming while talking.
Okay. So how it is now?
Still same.
Same.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we will
Your voice is echoing. Yeah. I think twice we are hearing and also disturbance also there.
so I am working from the same location all this. So okay, what I will do is I will log off from the meeting and then I will log in back. Okay.
Okay.
So I will just log in off and I will. Okay, so I'm logged in back now. How it is?
Yeah, it's good now.
I'm not sure. So what is changed if I logged in and log off? So, anyways, you know, the last time so what we are discussing is recovery, so which didn't work. Okay, so no problem. So you know we will get it to work. So here, you know, some So we'll recover one more time. So we'll remove everything and we'll try one more time. So this time it has not given any suggestion, could not locate a valid checkpoint record. So, so starting archive connection problem with SSH. Database system error, last on error connection problem with SSH. Okay, some problem is there with our SSH connection. Armanet, Arman server. Oh, there is no problem with the SSH. Database system was interrupted. Last unloaded SSH connection problem. Starting archive recovery. So it is not able to perform the archive recovery due to SSH problem. So that is the problem, it is not able to perform the archive recovery because SSH is not working. Connection is not happening to our server. So to our barman server. Let me check. Okay, firewall is running, so it might be the cause. So what I will do is I will exit from here. So I will do sudo. So systemctl stop firewall db admin. Okay, so the backups and everything are working. So, so get enforce. Okay, this is also a problem. So, this will also stop the processes from running, opening ports and all. So we need to, so, so we need to change this. Set enforce. Sudo set enforce 0. Okay. So, these are, the Linux related issues. So we'll do the same thing on, this I didn't check. So systemctl status firewall D. Okay, this is inactive. Get enforce, it is permissive. So anyways, okay, we have, taken care of this. So now we will run the command pgctl start. So we'll put back the backup manifest file also. CP backup label to data. So we copied that file, right? So pgctl start. Oops. Same issue. Okay, if you are okay, same connection problem, SSH connection problem. Connection with SSH, error connection with SSH. So I'll delete that and then I will start. So I may get the same problem, but I will have the full file to look into. So listening on IP4, listening on socket data was interrupted last known up. So connection problem with SSH. Starting archive recovery. So archive recovery need a connection to, a barman server, but I think now we don't have any issues. Invalid checkpoint recorded. So first of all, it is not able to read that archives from the barman server. So the archives are on the barman server. It is not able to read those archives. So that is what, the problem is. So now everything looks good here. No firewall, nothing. So firewall is not there right now. Anyways, now we are getting a SSH error. Connection problem, database last known SSH error we are getting. So when it's starting the archive recovery, it is getting the SSH issue. At Postgres auto.conf file. So the command is this one. The command is working fine from here, from Postgres user, wall restore username barman. So port number. So jobs, we don't give full directory. So config barman host. Server name. So barman host is this one. Server is DB server. Wall name, wall destination is %p. The following arguments are required. Barman host. Okay, this command is not able to do the work. So that's the problem here. That is the problem here. I'm manually running this command, see if it works. Okay, now it says wall destination cannot be done. So I will just make a directory. I use %p. So I'm manually running this command. Oh, this is the problem. Okay, so it is some fingerprint issue was coming. So now it should not come that fingerprint issue. Server started. What was the problem was, it was asking when it was running, it was asking for this fingerprint, yes or no. So I think, after configuring the, what we say, SSH from Postgres to Barman, I didn't tested it. So I didn't tested it. That's the reason it was asking the fingerprint. Generally, it won't ask. So that's a problem. So that has delayed our, okay. So that is how you can recover from the Barman. So, we will go to the lab and we will do the Barman setup and recovery. Setup is very elaborate. So recovery is very simple. We ran, if we didn't run into this command, the fingerprint issue, right? So, I would have tested the Barman, so SSH from Postgres server to there. So that was the problem. Anyways, when I ran this command manually, so, it has resulted in error, but, whatever it is looking for that accepting the fingerprint. So that I have accepted. So the next time it ran successfully. Okay. So, this is how you should be recovering. Next time you won't find that fingerprint issue. So that is a one-time issue. Okay. So any questions here? Any questions? So this is how you can perform the recovery on the Barman. Recovering everything is fine. So we got the issue not because of Barman, because we didn't tested the, the fingerprints. We didn't tested the SSH for all. You have to test for everything like, SSH. Uh, so you have to test for everything, IP address, short name, full name. So you have to test the SSH for each and everything. So that's it for my side. So today, so we have another 45 minutes. So that should be, so I thought of giving 1 hour for you guys to do the Brahman practice. So, so you can, 45 minutes are there. So you can do the practice. If you come through any errors, I am there till 45 minutes, and then on Monday, anyhow, I will be there. Okay. So during the weekends also, we will have this, we will have our labs. You might have observed last weekend also we had our lab. So this weekend also we will have our lab. Okay. So you can try. Okay, you can try also. Yesterday the recovery didn't work, right? So you can try the recovery yourself. It might work for you. So during the weekend. So anyhow, I have to demonstrate that recovery also. So I will demonstrate on the last day. Okay. So that is Thursday, next coming Thursday. So that is what we have for Barman. So I have copied that file, so we can do the practice for Barman.